Hi folks! I think the startup world is fascinating. The way how a raw idea grows into a wonderful startup and product really inspires me. Though the reality is 99% of startups fail. Why? Because building startups is hard, of course. And also because there are many startup misconceptions we absorb from movies, TV series, futile advice and other YouTube videos that create wrong expectations. I'm Andrew, an entrepreneur and startup founder. I've been working on startups for over 7 years, launched 5 of them, and I've seen a lot of it. From pitching the idea to YCombinator partners, to sleepless nights coding and thinking all weekends where to start. In this video, I'll share top 5 myths I encountered and that you should avoid, all based from real experience. So let's get started. Myth number 1. Building a startup is so romantic. The process of creating a startup is so romanticized. Hanging out with friends in the lofty apartment, colorful stickers on the walls, meeting with top founders and VCs, round after round, and bam, huge success. Well, not exactly. It's easy to fall in love with this story, but the reality is far more complicated. Remember the story of Melanie Parkins, the co-founder of Canva? She received more than 100 rejections from investors before finally funding the startup. Only after 3 years of hard work and more than 100 pitch deck revisions, she got a $3 million investment to scale her product. And that is now a worldwide multi-billion design platform. Michael Siebel, YCombinator CEO, shares that one of the most common reasons YC startup fails is because they lose faith after 1 or 2 years if no explosive growth happens. So, building a startup is fun, but it is also mountains of hard work, hundreds of rejections, and it seems like you are chewing glass and staring into the abyss. When we pitched our product Ply to YCombinator partners, I went through a ladder of emotions, from excitement to exhaustion. We worked so hard, and finally the interview day came. In the evening, we got a letter in which Ply got rejected. It was hard to accept, but we didn't stop and kept moving on to improve the product and find users that loved what we built. So, have the right expectations and prepare for ups and downs. You need to be formidable and ready to weather any storm. Myth number 2. Everyone is my customer. Okay, let's stop for a minute and visualize. A lot of startup founders say that they solve a problem for everyone. But in fact, it never works that way. Take, for example, Facebook. About 3 billion people use it, so it seems like almost everyone is on Facebook, right? Now, yes. But if we go back a few years, there was a time when very few people used social networks. Mark Zuckerberg had to figure out who was the first ideal customer of Facebook, and that appeared to be college students. And initially, Facebook was available only for them. Facebook was able to identify who their target audience was, focus on them, and completely won them before moving on to the next customer segment. Unlike trying to build a product for everyone, when you feel like you are banging your head against the wall, you should focus on a small group of users and solve their problem exceptionally well. So, the advice is the following. Pick a small target audience, gather feedback, iterate and improve your product, dominate this niche or market, and only then move further to attract other audiences and markets. Myth number 3. I'll build it and they will come. So many founders fall in love with their idea like it's their child. They are encouraged by their friends and family and think that when they release, users will fall in love with their app the same way. The reality is no one gives up, no one cares. People are busy, have short attention spans, and they are hard to get interested in something new. In most cases, you'll need to spend at least as much time, money, and effort promoting your product as you have spent building it. We built our product team room, for example, in about 3 months, and then spent another 3 months promoting, adjusting it to the real-world conditions, and pitching to get the first users and conduct live events on our platform. If we had not done that, we wouldn't have attracted the first customers and wouldn't have received important feedback on how to make our product better. When you build your product, Don't go with your gut instinct. Find your customers and listen to them carefully. Myth number 4. I want to build an Uber-like app for 5,000. This one is very common startup mistake. I have some money and want to build a rocket. It is possible to build the first version fast, and you should be thrifty spending your money. But don't expect the full rocket in the first version for several thousand bucks. Let me give you a bit more context. If you want to build an Uber-like app, how many apps do you really need? A driver app, a passenger app, admin dashboard, and much more. Yes, you actually need to build 3 apps with different features for each user. And each of them is hard enough. And I'm not even talking about all the marketing, operations, support expenses. In reality, you'll be better off to build a small, scrappy MVP for the first version, hack and optimize wherever can be optimized, build the smallest possible solution that can deliver value, and iterate from there. When you can prove your solution delivers value, it will be much easier to raise more capital and only then build a shiny rocket. For my startup Ply, we also had a limited budget and big plans. But we cut the scope as much as possible and delivered the first working version in under 2 months. The users loved what we built, started using it, which allowed us to have feedback to improve the product to the next versions. And meanwhile, don't fall in love with your MVP, because most likely you'll need to rebuild it several times anyway. Myth number 5. Monetization is not important. It is a common misconception that you should ignore monetization early on and focus exclusively on growing your user base. Even though it is usually good to have a solid user base, and I'm a big fan of the freemium model, but monetization is more important. The problem with free users is that you can't be 100% sure that you solved their problem. They are happy to request new features for your product, give feedback, lots of feedback, because it's free for them. But for your small startup team, it's hard to filter the meaningful points and build the right features. Monetization comes handy in here. In most cases, only by charging money can you be sure that users indeed have the problem and are willing to pay for solving it. And the requests of free users and paying customers are often very different. When we launched Ply, a performance management tool, we had only a free plan and the OKR module. And those early users asked us for more OKR-related and task management features, basically shifting us towards the project management solution. But when we asked these users to upgrade to the Pro plan, they went into silence. Those that were willing to upgrade had totally different features in mind, mostly about HR and people management. So we moved in that direction. Another example is Clubhouse. Clubhouse, almost immediately after its public launch in February 2021, started working on the features to monetize the audio network. Because again, monetization is the foundation of your business. And a bonus tip for you. Free users are usually more demanding and require lots of your attention and resources, while the paying ones are grateful and supportive. Paradox of startup life? Those are 5 startup myths I wanted to share with you. Hope you find it useful. We are going to share other useful things about startups and building products here. So subscribe and hit that bell not to miss a thing. If you like this video, you will love other videos on our channel about usability testing, product discovery, design sprint, and more to come. So make sure to check it out. See you soon!